When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing those stories to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can make an amazing life in sales. Today's guest, no stranger to the journey. I'd like to welcome Grant Fuellenbach to the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, Drewbie, I'm good, man. Having a great day.
Absolutely love to hear it. I want to jump right in. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
All right. So let's see. This was a few years ago, but it started a few years ago, but I try and keep this practice up. So I started a drone service company a handful of years ago, basically working with connecting the dots between drone pilots and project managers for construction sites. And so anytime I just started this practice of anytime I was driving anywhere and I would see a truck that just would kind of spur an idea of how they could use drones, I would just call the number on the truck and literally ask them that, like, hey, are you guys currently using drones to manage your properties, to, manage your construction sites, whatever it was. And it was one of the fastest, most surefire ways of just generating intrigue from, somebody who's probably never even heard of or thought about how to use drones on a job site.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting when you just ask questions, how often it leads you to opportunity. And so being that you're in the drone business, it's still relatively new. I mean, I know drones have been around since like the 70s or something. I think someone just said the other day. But like what we know of drones is still a relatively newer business and opportunity. And so what do you see as far as when you're working with these operators and trying to bring everybody together? Like, what are some of those first things that they really need to be focused on when it comes to being in sales and kind of building that brand up?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Understanding the world that your client lives in, I would say that is the most important. Speaking their language, right? If, drone operators, and I'll in full transparency, I sold that company. So I'm no longer doing that, but I like that example.
Yeah, that's a great one.
But to answer that question, drone operators nowadays, if you have a successful business, more than likely you're not hyper niche. You're not, working just with surveyors. You're not just doing residential shoots. And so you need to be able to translate. You need to, be able to speak the benefits and values that drones offer construction project managers as well as for a realtor or a broker, right? The terminology is different, but the problems might be similar.
Yeah, sales it's all about solving problems. And I love that you mentioned understanding where your client lives. Where do they spend their time? What are the things that they're thinking about on a day-to-day basis? Because when you understand that and you can communicate in a way that they relate to, it builds a lot of trust in the relationship. And so you sell the drone company. What prompted you to sell that and kind of where did you go from there with it?
Yeah. Let's see. What prompted to sell? Just timing more than anything. I built it to be like as self-sufficient as possible. So the thing was just automating, or as automated as I could get it. And this was before AI kind of took hold of a lot of things. And so I just had, an opportunity present itself. And I was like, yeah, I think it's time. And that experience opened up so many doors in commercial and residential construction. My background is, in drones, but it's also in like revenue operations, like managing sales teams, helping them set up tech stacks, all of that. And I just got to understand how limited so many, even just gigantic construction firms, how limited their use of their project management, of their CRM, of their workflows is. And so I just had this like multiple light bulb moment where it was like, this is such a green field, a green market to explore. And so that's kind of where I've been for the past few years, is just helping builders really dial in their back end using AI, using their CRMs, using tools like JobTread, BuilderTrend.
Yeah, man, I have met so many people in, we'll just call it home services, right? We kind of blanket it, that are making 5, 10, 20 plus $1 million a year. And they're still operating it from like random Excel sheets and, pencil and pad. And when you walk in and you start looking at it and you're just like, what in the world? It's because there's so much growth that has happened, and you can go on both sides, right? We also probably know people that have spent all of their time building the perfect tech stack and all of the follow-up flows and all of the things, but they're not actually filling the pipeline by having those conversations, right? They're not picking up the phone and calling the guy in the truck and being like, hey man, I need this. So like, what are you trying to do? So for you, when you walk in and you're looking at working with these businesses, what are some of the first things that you really tackle? Like, what are those low-hanging fruits that most of them are just too close to the mess to see the message on?
Oh, I love that. The primary reason why people even are interested in what I do is because they think that they have an issue with leads, because they think they have an issue with marketing flow, that they're not getting enough calls in, right? And oftentimes it's exactly what you just said. It's a reliance on one channel, and that channel is who's calling you, not how many people are you calling. Are you doing ads? Are you doing, content? Are you doing webinars for homeowners? What are you doing that's providing value outside of just hoping that somebody has a problem and needs to call you? And so that's kind of that's one of the things that we look at. The primary meat and potatoes of what we do is we do a full diagnostic of companies, right? So not only what does your team look like, but what's your tech stack look like? What's your goals and aspirations? What's your current workflows? How are you doing knowledge transfer? How do you understand if you need to hire somebody? That it's everything, right?
There's so many layers to this world. It's wild, man, when you really break it down. And that's, for sales professionals, for those of you that are just like, hey man, I'm a sales guy. I show up and I sell stuff and I get paid. It's great. That's not a bad place to be. Sometimes, as a business owner, I've asked myself, man, would I have done better if I'd have just stayed and sold someone else's stuff and got paid lots and lots of money to do so? There's no right or wrong, right? I think that's the beautiful part about this journey that we're on. But if you are going to start a business for yourself, there are layers to this. There are pieces to this that you have to understand, and you have to be willing to say, I don't know what I don't know. And I love your approach, Grant, of like, hey man, what is this? We got to ask a lot of questions. Tell me more about this thing. And it sounds like that's kind of always been your go-to, is like asking questions.
Absolutely. I mean, anybody who isn't asking enough questions, it just comes off as, one, arrogant, but it's such a red flag, because it's like, I don't think you're actually genuinely interested in like the world I'm in right now. I think you're probably, you checked off a few boxes, and now you're trying to pitch me on whatever solution you have in your best interest. The conversation pivots from, hey, equal playing field right now. Like, I want to tell you my whole world. Hopefully we've built that trust. And so then, you can direct me whether it's in my best interest to move forward with you or not. But oftentimes salespeople position themselves where it's like, hey, I have the list of 3 questions I need to ask you real quick, and then I'll be able to sell you this thing or not.
Sir, I just need to make sure you're qualified to buy this product or service.
Right?
One,
Yeah.
do you have money? No. I think that's a red flag. Let's try. Can you afford this? No. Man, Like
Exactly.
it really, and I know that's like a simplified, stupid version of it, but sometimes, man, you listen to these folks and they are literally acting like robots. It's very transactional. It's very much just tell me how you want the thing, and I'll tell you how great we are, so that you'll buy it from us. And working with business owners, one of the things I often run into, and will speak from my own personal experience, right? So I'm not hating on y'all for listening, but like if you recognize this, you spot it if you got it. It's really easy to believe you have all of the answers and be 100% confident in your ability to go out and get these things done. And also, you're one man who can't do everything. And so how do you start breaking that down for people to understand there are certain things you need to focus on first?
Oh, absolutely. And that's such a good question. I really like a few things come to mind right off the bat, and it's identifying what levers you have, right? So like people, platform, and process, the 3 Ps that I like to focus on. So what tools do you have at your disposal right now? It might be an Excel spreadsheet. Sometimes that's okay. People, like, do you have a good understanding of not just, oh, Karen's the bookkeeper, but what else is she good at, right? What does she like? What's her motivator? And then process too. Like, how are you keeping track of the workflow that Karen is using to update your books in QuickBooks or whatever it is? Do you have a good process around that? And then, understand, like, one of the first things I do is I just ask the people that I'm working with, do me a favor, spend some time tonight and list out all the things that you think you're responsible for in your current role. And then I just do an analysis on it, take all of the other information that we have, and just do a quick, delegate, defer, delete, or do. And just say, based off of what you've told me so far, here's what I understand. Here's the things that you want to get off your plate. Here's the things that you actually want to keep on your plate. Here's the things that you want to give to somebody else. And here's the things that are like lower priority that you still want to own, but you need to push out.
I think there's something you said there that's really key, though, is priority. And so many people have their priorities mixed up in terms of what's important for me to be doing every day. And it's a hard conversation because there's a lot of people that think I'm the only one who can do this job. And again, y'all, I'm speaking from experience because I had to have these hard lessons the hard way so that we could figure it out. And I know, Grant, you probably have a lot of these similar situations, right? You were like, I'm the only one who can do these numbers. And I'm the only one who can build these ad sets or whatever it is. And then you realize, like, once you hire somebody and you put it into their hands, you defer it to somebody smarter than you, it actually gets done and gets done better. And then all of a sudden you've got more things that you need to focus on because other people are doing a better job at the job only you could do.
That's right. Yeah.
What do you do when you run into people that like just absolutely refuse to give up or defer certain tasks?
I mean, it's, and for a long time I was one of those people too. And
Guilty.
It just comes down to, what do you actually want to do? Do you want to keep the business where it's currently at, where you are in charge of, X, Y, and Z? Or do you want to actually grow this thing like you say you do? And in order to do that, you're going to need help. Just show them the numbers, like have them face their own numbers.
Well, and I think it opens up the conversation on success, right? What does success actually mean? What does it look like? How do we quantify it? And I'm a big believer that it's a perspective. What I want out of life, Grant, is going to be different than what you want. There might be some similarities, but at the end of the day, you and I have different things, a different view of what a perfect, successful life would look like for us. And until someone is willing to own that and say, like, yeah, I don't care if you don't like my version or not, like, this is what I'm going after, they will constantly rationalize and justify certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Negotiables, right? A lot of people like to talk about non-negotiables, but non-negotiables are always negotiable at a point. And I think that's the point where you have to figure out, like, hey, is living the life that I actually want a non-negotiable? Because then you will put the priorities in place. And so for you, Grant, what are, like, just, for you, what are some of your priorities in life? Like, what are the things that you want that you would know would make your life successful?
Yeah. Let's see. So I started just talking about podcasts, being on a podcast. I started a podcast about 4 months ago with the goal of just learning how to do it. And, with the goal of trying to not do the editing as much, but just getting one off the ground. And, I figured out that I really enjoy it. I really enjoy, doing intro calls and the show, putting together web pages for the guests. And then, like, I use AI a lot, so I've been able to dial in that whole workflow down to about 2 days. And, that's my jam. I really like doing that. I like trying to use tools that I use almost on a daily to make workflows better. And the podcast, that's one of them, right? Like, I think there are probably parts of it that over time I'll delegate. But right now it's kind of to use that word, non-negotiable, because I'm just happy doing it, and it's not impacting too much of the other opportunity costs.
And that's an important part, right? It's good to have things that you're passionate about and that you put your all into, and also recognizing that what is the bigger purpose behind it? It's okay to do things that bring you joy. I know that sounds counterintuitive to what all the gurus that say grind until you can't breathe and, like, work till you're dead, whatever. It's okay to enjoy your life. And I think it's really key to understand that in order to enjoy your life at a maximum level, you're going to have to do the work. That's why Call the Damn Leads exists, right? It's really just a mantra for doing the work, because whatever you want in life, whether it's success in your business or success in your marriage or your fitness or your relationship, it doesn't matter, any of those things. It comes back to being committed and doing the things that you are wanting to do and continuing to do them even when you don't understand it, right? When you were starting a podcast, you probably had no idea, like, where do I even upload this thing? And what do I record it on? And do I need a fancy camera, or do I just, like, whip my phone out? Like, you had to go and figure out the answer to a lot of these questions. And it started with asking questions of your own. So for me, man, because we could probably nerd out on this like all day, I want to respect your time. How do we come find you, follow you, check out more of your content? Because I know this is just like the tip of the iceberg of what you have to share with us.
Absolutely. As far as I know, I'm the only Grant Fuellenbach on LinkedIn. So feel free to stalk me there if you want. Or the website, gofirstconsulting.com, or if you want to check out our podcast, it's Beyond the Bid. So any of those.
Absolutely. I'm excited to check them out. I'm definitely going to give the podcast a listen. One piece of advice I'll give you, Grant, this is the same thing that my mentor told me many, 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 many years ago when I got into this podcasting space. He said, whatever you do, don't quit. And I was like, all right, that seems fair. And he's like, no. The average podcast only creates 7 episodes, bro. Like, don't quit. I'm like, all right, man, got it. And then I got to episode 700. And I was like, I think I'm going to quit now. I've said everything I have to say. And my mother-in-law, God love her. She's special. She comes to me when I'm talking about this at dinner one night with my wife. She's like, yeah, but I mean, think about how blessed and lucky your son is that if anything ever happened to you, he has hundreds of these episodes of wisdom that he can go back and listen to.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, damn it, Mom, I can't ever quit now. Like, what do you...
Seriously.
And so I'll leave that gem with you because it hit me in the heart. But man, when you can leave these stories and you can share these messages, bro, there's something special about it. So, like, keep up. Don't quit. Have fun with it, too, because, man, this is a great thing to do.
Yeah, thank you. I love that, by the way. That one hits.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, listen, if you enjoyed the show today, y'all, make sure you stop by and follow Grant. Send him a message. Maybe share this episode out on social media. Let the world know you got some value out of it. Maybe you know somebody who needs to hear this because they like suck at sales and they're kind of going through it. You don't have to tell them they suck, but just say, hey, I heard this episode. I liked it. I thought of you. I wanted to send it your way because that's how we spread the message. That's how we spread the movement of Call the Damn Leads. Because at the end of the day, it's all about you guys. So if you have a story, you have something you want to share on the show, I'd love to have you as a guest. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your details. While you're there, grab a hat, sweatshirt, keychain, some swag. Tell the world you call the damn leads because you know what it is. Go pick up that phone. Ring-a-ling. We'll see you next time.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind that speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.